Hi. Hey everyone. I'm just gonna wait for people here to join and also send an invitation to Darcy. Hi. This is Qendresa. I am the influencer marketing director at EvenSkyn, and I have been hosting a few live events with some of our influencers and just having some time to answer some of your questions that you usually guys wanted answered from us. Today we're gonna have a discussion with Darcy, also known as Brazilian Girl Channel. If you have been following her on social media or probably YouTube, she is a content creator. She has been testing different products in the anti-aging and skincare industry, and she has been making tutorials and live events, showing people on how to use such technologies, how to incorporate them into our own skincare routine. I am a big fan of Darcy's work, and she's so passionate about the things that she does. And Darcy has been one of the first people to ever try our EvenSkyn products, and especially the Lumo, and she has been doing reviews and tutorials on how to incorporate Lumo in your skincare routine. And so many people found them very helpful. So we decided that it's going to be a nice opportunity for her to join today, and probably be able to we're just going to have a general discussion about anti-aging, about different ages, like what do you need to use in different stages of your life, and her experience mainly with our devices, especially the Lumo and the Venus. But Darcy has been one of those people that whenever we launch the device, she's one of the first people to try out, and I'm just gonna invite her. Join. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. I'm actually in my new studio. This is my first time shooting here. So is everything sounding good? Because I have a fan going on.
No worries. It's all good. It's so good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, yes, good to see you too. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you guys, and I definitely still use a lot of your products. I still talk, even though I test new devices, there's some staples that I always use, which I can talk about it today. And that I feel like they're so versatile that you can insert into your routine even if you use other tools. So that's what I love about it. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to share some stuff.
Thank you so much for having the time to join here today. And I was just sharing a short kind of introduction. Darcy, I've been one of the first people ever to try, especially the Lumo. This was one of the first devices that we launched into the market, and people were so excited. But especially since the Lumo combines different technologies, we needed some people to get out there and just test the device and share a review and talk about it. And you were one of the first people. And I know so many people watch your videos. It's it's just in terms of tutorials. So it has been amazing to have your insights in here. So thank you so much for doing that. And we have had so many calls before. We have our own group, and we talked about campaigns and different products. But I wanted to have this live conversation so you could share more about your skincare journey, because there are so many people out there mainly confused. Where do I need to start? And because you have tested so many things, so many technologies, I know you'll be able to help some of the people out there.
Yes, yes. I just turned 46, this last July. And I find that, I can talk about different stages of my life, because when I share my journey on social media, it's really my own journey. I try the products for myself too. And it's very important to notice whenever I try a product, I only use that product by itself, because I test many tools. But I make sure to do that because I want to share with people which kind of results they can see from that tool alone, because there's so many tools in the market. So I don't use everything at the same time. When I did the Lumo, I used just the Lumo. When I did the Venus, I just did the Venus. So I try to do that so people can see which kind of results they can get. And I was really surprised when I did the Lumo, because that's when I started to really see my neck really going bad. And to this day, I talk about that the Lumo was one of the few tools that really helped my gobble.
I
And
remember
really,
that in the
yes,
video,
because
before.
I would do this, and it was just kind of if you look at the Lumo video, it would just stay. which means like the elasticity of the neck was, you know, already, because the neck is something that I don't treat at all. And even though the Lumo you cannot use on the thyroid, you can use on the double chin. And I'm noticing as I get older, you know, when I was in my 30s, I didn't have the problem. Like I would lose weight and the double chin was fine. But now I have the fat because I gained some weight, but I also have the loose skin. So that's what I feel like people have to be aware which kind of tools for each age. And I find that the Lumo is like one of the few tools that really works for the collagen production and also firming. Because back way back when, like on my channel, I have a tool that takes the fat out of your chin. And that is such a popular video. But when I did my first, when I was younger, I did the double chin to take the fat and it was fine. But I got older, I used the tool and the chin was gone, the fat, but then it was so loose and crepey. And that's what I feel like radio frequency EMS is the only thing you can do, especially if you're older, you lose the fat, the fat, and then you are left with skin, like, which I didn't have before, which is so funny. So I feel like at each stage of your life, you have to be aware of which kind of tools you need. And as you get older, I joke that you have to bring the big guns because especially if you don't want to go to, I mean, you can of course resort to the fillers and Botox, but there's just so much they can do. And more we are learning that, it can sometimes change the structure of your face. So
and not many people feel comfortable doing that. It's sometimes what you can do, because we also, like, when we talk to people and describe, because they're like, okay, do I need a device? And we kind of tell everyone that skincare, like sun protection, cleansing, moisturizer, is kind of the first step that you need to do in order to take care of your skin. And some people are like, okay, now I have wrinkles, I need to go and like get a Botox or a filler or something. And we tell them, this is where the Lumo and the Mirage and all the other skincare devices that we sell come in. It is the in-between. Like, topicals are just going to do like as much as they can, but they're not going to penetrate that much deep into the layers of your skin. And then, for example, for the Botox, is kind of, or like even more like those surgical therapies, or like some of the bigger things that you need to kind of go under the knife in order to take some of the skin out or the fat out. This is where the Lumo comes in between, because then you can treat your skin deeper into the layers and then like produce more collagen, so then it starts to regenerate itself. So
it helps each other. They kind of work. Even if you use, one thing I was going to say that people don't know, and I don't do Botox or fillers, this is all natural. It's just a choice, nothing against it, but I wanted to show people which kind of alternatives they have, because I've been using tools since my late 20s. So I find that when you use in your late 20s, I was even mentioning another video, I found an old passport photo of me when I was 27, and I had more nasolabial folds than I have now at 46, because that's when I started to really use microcurrents to lift the muscles. So I found like back then it was preventive, because I didn't have to use as often. Like I would like suck off, use once here and there. But I find that now that I'm 46, it definitely accumulated to really, be a preventive measure. And then now that I'm older, when I stop my tools, and I have photos on my channel, it shows that, people say, like, a lot of times they watch my videos, oh, I don't want to see somebody in their 30s doing this. I was like, no, I'm 46, I'm closer to 50 now. But I'm showing you that they do work. It does take some, consistency. And also, as I said, as 27, it was more preventive. In my 30s, I really noticed that I could see the results when I didn't use them. And now at 46, if I stop for like a month, definitely see that the, gravity and the normal aging process set in, which is okay. And it's fine. It's good to really, it's important to also like yourself the way you are, and know that, also be realistic that the tools are not going to make you look 25. They can make you look your best at that age. And I think that's the goal you have to have. If you're using a tool, you're going to look better than you are at your age, but it's not going to make you look 25 again. You have to have that frame of mind as well.
100%. So were you one of those people that kind of didn't take care of your skin, went out in the sun for hours to get a tan, and then realized, okay, I need to do something? Or was like more educational content and the things that you knew that you needed to start before to kind of prevent? Because as we say, SPF is the preventative before we get to the need to use anything else. You didn't do. Okay.
I joke when I left Brazil at 16, and then I came to the US to be an exchange student, and I went to the middle of the US, which is Northwest Indiana, which is super cloudy. And I joke that saved my skin, because up to 16 years old, I'll go in the sun wearing olive oil. Like I would not like use any sunblock. My mom would always tell me, don't do that. And I would literally put no protection. So I joke that coming to the US saved me some years, but I'm still paying right now for all the damage I did by, you know, wanting to be tan. And I would get really red, and I got sun poisoning many times because my skin is very fair. And I would never really look tan, but I wanted to be tan. And sometimes I would look really nice for a couple of days, and then it just peels. And
I know.
Again, like one thing I talk about sunscreen is, you know, very, very important. And that is also what I have so much more damage on my décolletage and neck, because even now I put more on my face, but I forget neck and décolletage. So the damage continues to happen. So I did not take care of my skin, and I had very sensitive skin. So I couldn't even like use a lot of stuff because it would make me
Actives.
That's why I started my channel actually showing DIY recipes, which I still do, because I started creating my own skincare because I couldn't. But now that I noticed lately, when the whole cleaning, you know, clean sort of brand came through, now I can use more things. And then I realized a lot of the stuff that irritated me were chemicals that are not anymore. And it's so interesting. So now I can use more things that I could before, but I still have to be careful because my skin is I have rosacea and I have acne prone skin, which doesn't look like it because I use LED. Again, if you have acne prone skin, I talk about, and I show some of before and afters with like acne. People say, you don't have acne skin. And then I point to a video that showed my cystic acne like really bad. So I notice if I don't use LED light, which can also help prevent, you know, like the, you know, so using LED lights really, really helps to prevent. And also like when you have a breakout,
The blue
it also
lights.
helps. It really, really helps. So, but when I don't use it for a while and I don't use any tools, I notice I start breaking out more, and everything comes back. So it goes back to consistency is the key. And if you're not breaking out, you can use it to prevent, and you're breaking out, you can use to heal. So that is something that I've learned
when you
through.
started your anti-aging routine, and especially with sensitive skin and rosacea and like acne prone, you kind of, because you cannot use that many actives, as you said, or probably you wouldn't be able to use AHA, BHA. So
I could never
where did you
even
start?
use
Was it
anything the
products,
doctor
or
gave
was
me.
it, sorry,
Yeah, I could never even use like I still to this day, I don't use any retinols. I cannot, like my skin just reacts horribly, and I couldn't, even when I had the horrible acne, it just burned my skin. I could not even use anything.
So was it devices that you started to kind of see more results? And how was your, because many people are like, do I need to go to radio frequency? Do I need to use an LED or a microcurrent? So there are so many technologies out there that it would be nice to kind of see your own journey, because I know there are also questions that we get. I have sensitive skin. Is this going to irritate my skin even more?
Yes. So when I first started, I again started with actually microcurrent was one of the first things that I used, because I've noticed like I was having nasolabial folds and I was 27. It's like, what's happening? I was a lot skinnier. So I just felt like this was kind of showing. And then I started using microcurrents, and then I had horrible acne actually at 27, in my late 20s and early 30s. That's when I said the hormone acne. I had great skin growing up, but then when I started really bad acne, so I started researching things, because I couldn't put like any sort of thing that irritate my skin. It would just look dry and peeling, and actually would hurt because I have rosacea. So then I researched about LED lights. So I always resort to, growing up and in my journey, to natural skincare, like face that I could do at home, and tools. And I joke about it because also, not that I'm lazy, but it takes time to like also use products. So I felt like tools would give me the best results by not like having to be, you know, thinking about putting too much things on my face every day. Like I keep my skincare routine very simple, but I insert the tools, and I find that they make the more results, even though you have to be consistent. It's just better for me than just putting a bunch of creams, which also can be expensive. You know, like a lot of the skincare can be expensive. So you can have, I mean, skincare is important too, to use like which, you know, serums, but I find that the tools give the better result than just skincare, because it gets deeper into your skin layer, especially LED lights, you know? It's very, very important. It's one of my favorites, microcurrent LED lights, because it's something I find that anybody can use at any age. It works well for younger and people even older, but I think as a first step, like microcurrent LED is something that is a great combination, you know, that you can kind of use together to prevent and also correct, you know, the skin and the, you know.
Because especially if you're going to use microcurrent, it is more of a muscle memory long term. When we talk about radio frequency, it's kind of the power of like anti-aging, but that is kind of the long-term plan or the long-term goal. If you're doing things, it's kind of doing like those facial yoga massage. It is about the muscle memory that just kind of lift your face.
Exactly.
And even while you're doing your own skincare or you're putting on a mask, you just try to probably do a bit of massage because it also helps with lymphatic drainage. But down the line, sometimes that is just not enough. Then you start, or we recommend starting with something like microcurrent, and then you kind of build up until you probably have an LED face mask
Yes.
that we brush. And then
Yeah.
it would be, or it would come to the point of using something like the Lumo. So tell me, how was your experience when you got the Lumo first? Because I know you tested devices before.
Yes, what I like about the Lumo, and I talk about it today, is to people that sometimes they don't want to have, there's so many tools in the market, sometimes you just want to get one thing. And I even talk on that video that, especially, you know, being a mom, being busy, you don't have time to like, you know, that's one of the reasons that I do one tool at a time too, because I want to show people the results, but I also don't have time to be like all day long, like trying everything on my face, you know, so I usually choose one thing at a time. And when people ask me like, what should I get? It's like, how's your schedule? How's your budget? What are your needs? Because you have to kind of think of that when you think of a tool. Am I going to use that? Because I have bought, which I'm going to make a video of tools. I've been a tool addict, even though I became famous. I have a drawer full of tools that I bought throughout my life. Some really expensive that were like older technologies. Like there's one that is actually a radio frequency, but an older one that has a fractional thing that makes you like dots. And it was like $800 like 10 years ago. But I never used it because it was painful. And again, like I tell people the technology right now is so amazing that you can use something at home that is not gonna like give you any scars or, you know, hurt you. So I have a drawer full of stuff that I tried, never used it because I didn't like it. It was painful, or I needed to use too many times. Like I had one of the first LEDs I had was like a handheld, and you have to hold on each part for 3 minutes. So
3 minutes.
I would like turn blue. Yeah. I mean, you still do, but it was a great tool. But like if you're doing your whole face, and they didn't back then they didn't have the mask. So I would do it and I was like, and then go here. It would be like, it's just so much that you have, again. So one of the first questions you have to ask yourself when you look for a tool, are you going to use it? How's your schedule? So what I like the Lumo is like, even if you use once a week, the EMS, which helps with the muscle, which something that people have to understand, that the face muscle is one of the few places that is actually connected to your skin. So when you lift your face muscles, you're actually literally lifting your face because it's connected. So having something like EMS that actually lifts your face and you can use once a week, it's so powerful that you actually see results and you don't have to be using it every day. Yeah. And I still use the cleaning setting of the Lumo too, because, and I have like, you put it like with the cotton, and you can, and you guys also now just released, this one is actually, I've been liking to use this with the cleaning setting. Yeah. And I find that even when my skin is super clean, like it pulls, you know, because you use the ions to pull everything from the pores. So I still use that even when I'm using other tools. And I also love the cold setting too. Like this morning I woke up super puffy, and you can just kind of, so I love that there's different things you can do with one tool that you don't have to think about it. And also something important is that it makes the LED with the EMS. So you're getting the benefit of the collagen. You know, the LED stimulates the ATP, the energy of the cells, and the EMS is, you know, moving the muscles up. So that's one of the things I talk about. The Lumo you can use once or twice a week, and you can get a lot for your money and your time, you know. Exactly. So I feel so good. Sorry, I just like I like holding it like that.
It has been designed for those people in mind, and especially as you said, before purchasing, because this is an investment. If you're going to buy any sort of anti-aging or any sort of device, it's not just about anti-aging or skincare devices. If you're going to be using that, at least you need to commit and like test it for a while, see if it's working for you. Because sometimes people are like, I don't see result, and then we ask for how long have you been using that, and it has been only a month or probably even more. But that is not enough to say it is working or it is not, or like you don't need to buy everything else in the market just in order to kind of get that beautiful glowing and lifting effect. It is about having one and then sticking to it and then be as
using it. And I talk about a lot of the times, even when I talk about new tools that come in the market and people ask me, do I need that? It's like, how long have you been using the other tool? Use it at least 3 months, and then you can evaluate. And I talk about even people that are younger, like, what should I start? It's like, well, depending on their age, I said, you can start with microcurrent, you know, if you're looking at lifting, and then use it for 3 months, and then see, do you need, like, are you losing like volume in your face? If not, microcurrent or EMS should be enough. And to just keep your skin lifted. And then you can start, as you lose collagen, you may need to start, you know, using something like radio frequency to really plump that up. But even if you use once a week, is already enough to kind of like stimulate and, you know, not overdo it, which is also important, especially radio frequency. You do not want to overdo it.
No.
And happens to a lot of people. They're like, oh, more is better, because it can get exciting. You use a tool and you feel like, oh, I'm lifted. Maybe more is better. It's not. Yeah. And this is really powerful. One of the things somebody was asking a question about, can I ask a question really quick? I incorporated into what I'm talking about, about hollowness. They're asking, can you please tell something for hollow eyes? Which is something interesting, depending on the hollow of your eyes, because I'm 46 now, and I've noticed once you get 46 or late 30s, you start losing fat pads, you start losing muscle, and you'll start losing bone. So then this start going down, and I was noticing I was getting hollowness. But the interesting thing about radio frequency, if the hollowness in your eyes is related to, you know, being older and having the loss of fat pads and loss of muscle, then radio frequency really helps, even though you're not using on the Lumo, you do not use on your eyes, you end it on the cheekbone. But I mentioned on my Lumo video too, that when I was using the Lumo, even though you end at the cheekbone, because you're stimulating the collagen, it was filling up my under eye because it was lifting the cheeks. And that's another thing too. If you have hollow eyes, using a microcurrent device or using the Lumo to lift your cheeks. I'm actually studying to be an esthetician right now too. And I actually got a certification in microcurrent because I'm really passionate about learning devices and teaching people. And it was interesting to know the muscle structure. So if you're lifting your cheek muscles, you're actually feeling this area up, and you're actually, and it helps also the jawline, the jowling, because when you lift the cheek muscles, this goes up and this fills up. So sometimes you don't even need fillers, which can be actually the opposite. It can make you look even, worse. Here's a very delicate area. Try first to, if you're older, to use something like radio frequency or microcurrent to lift the cheeks and stimulate the collagen. Or if you're younger and maybe the hollowness is related to dark circles, because that is also something that can be tiredness or, retention of fluid, or it can just be like lack of sleep, then make sure you drink water. Or you can also use the Venus. I love the Venus for the puffiness and brightening, because also has the LED, the green, the blue and the red. And I find that it's really helpful for the puffiness. And also to, if you have dark circles, to stimulate that. Because if you're younger, sometimes the hollowness is related to the darkness that you get here, the stagnation that you get underneath your eyes. So something like this, which is not radio frequency, but it does warm up to also stimulate the collagen.
It has thermal heating, so it helps with, help with collagen production. So
so I would suggest, for hollowness, definitely, if you're older, for sure, radio frequency with EMS to lift your cheeks. But if you're younger and you have the hollowness, it could be related to, poor eating habits or not drinking enough water or fluid retention. So something like the Venus could really help to kind of release the stagnation that can get in this area. But I've noticed that helps a lot too. And also helps with wrinkles and, and make sure you do not use radio frequency on this area, because I did a long time ago a tool that actually has been out of the market. It was in one of the first radio frequencies for the eyes, and it damaged my eye. So I still have eye dryness from it. So be really careful with, now the technology is different. Again, I'm going to do a whole video on my channel about tools that I bought that I don't use, and that actually was not ideal for, the technology was not there.
Look forward to that video. It's going to be important because it is more like a do's and don'ts for people that are starting or that are planning to buy different devices. And it is true that the technology right now, it's totally different.
So
like we are
advanced.
Updating,
and back then they were,
we're updating our own Lumo. Like every time we're bringing a new Lumo or a new Mirage or anything, we're updating its features so that it's more powerful, it is more precise, it has sensors, it has an auto timer. So everything is more of an easy experience. Like you don't even have to think, okay, when do I need to stop the Lumo now, because it has an auto timer in it. So it is a much easier experience. But using radio frequency over your eyes, that is going to be very damaging. And as you said, it's going to dry your eyes, and it's going to be even problematic than just dried eyes. There's probably more
Yes,
side
yes. So
effects
I'll
from
talk about
that.
on the video. They don't sell that too
Yeah.
anymore, and I bought it at Nordstrom. So I
Wow.
bought it at the time because I was concerned again with the
Mm-hmm.
hollowness, with the wrinkles, because back then I didn't realize like what can I do? There was nothing in the market.
Yeah.
And it was like right now I feel like there's so many tools in the market, but back then like I always again research and find out, and I bought that at Nordstrom, and they don't sell that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's why maybe a lot of people like, have bad reactions. It was back then when tools were more expensive and a lot of people didn't buy them, and so I was always curious about technology. But I feel like now we're in a space that the tools that come out, they can really, really like give you exactly what I wanted 10 years
Yeah.
ago, but now
Yeah.
with consistency
It's
and
research.
and
It's
safety, a lot of more safety features too, like having a sensor. And that's why I talk about, I get comments on my channel all the time about people buying cheap radio frequency from Alibaba or Amazon, which you have to be really careful. Sometimes cheap, it's you pay for it later, because especially with radio frequency, I tell people a lot of those tools don't have sensors, so they get too hot. And that's when people talk about
that
fat loss with radio frequency, is when you get a tool that doesn't have the sensor and doesn't know that your skin is heated.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. So I get so many comments like, oh, radio frequency ruined my skin. What tool did you buy? I bought it on Amazon. I bought that. It's like, those tools are cheap. A lot of them are super cheap, but they don't have FDA clearance. They don't have any certifications of safety. Safety is
Yeah.
so important. And
There's
having damaged my eye before, from like, I still have it, like extreme dryness from using the tool. Like, it didn't have a sensor. It didn't like tell me. I had to like time it. So it's so important to have that safety. And I know now more the tools have that.
yeah.
So just have
Yeah.
to be careful. Cheaper is not better. You have to think about the damage that cannot be repaired.
Yeah, and you need to kind of have someone from the brand helping you out in that process or like that journey. And I know because we get this feedback as well. I purchased something I have been using, it is causing me fat loss. Is there anything that I can use from your devices that is going to be able to help me out? And it is a good feeling for us when we're able to help them out in this process. But it also, like, it's very sad to know that people are purchasing. And I mean, it is sad to know that people are selling such devices in the market, and then they are not FDA cleared, they are not FDA approved,
And they
they
have
have not been.
no sensors. Like, you have to actually, like, I saw a video of somebody using it, and they had another thing to measure the temperature of the skin. So they know, like, they were teaching people how to be safe with those tools. But that is so dangerous because you're not an esthetician. And what if you do something, especially with fat loss? It's so
Yeah.
hard to get it back.
No,
So
yeah.
hard. And even the tool that I used on my chin, I bought it on eBay. It does work, but I always tell, do not use that on your face. Like, do not use it on your cheeks, because
When
you may want to use on the double chin. You want to lose fat here,
yeah,
but you
when
do
you
not want to lose. Like, a lot of people said, oh, I have fat cheeks. Can I use it? It's like, don't. Even if you have, you want that fat, because when you get older, you will really
you need
treasure
that.
your chubby cheeks, because they will make you look
Yeah.
youthful and a lot more. So yeah. So
Otherwise, you're
baffles
just
me
gonna
the
hollow cheeks, and then it's
hollowness.
gonna
Yeah,
look
it
very
makes
weird.
everything kind of droopy. So fat loss is something that is really hard. I find that now I don't have as much fat loss. I'm starting to have, I'm noticing, but I also gain a lot of weight, so that helps. Actually, I read that even as you go close to 50, it's actually good to be a little chubby, because that helps with collagen. I just read some, I'm sticking to it. I'm not like thinking too much about losing weight, because it says it's good to have a little bit of weight when you get close to menopause, because it can help the collagen.
Yeah.
But I noticed that even though I don't have a lot of fat loss, I have fat gain. It's important. I noticed that when the collagen gets improved, it feels like it plumps up your skin. It plumps up the under eye, because also the under eye has fat pads. But even if you have fat loss and you improve the collagen, I'm talking about people that have lost fat, and which is so hard to get back. Work on the collagen, because sometimes plumping the collagen can kind of give you a little bit more of a plumping effect from the fat loss.
Yeah.
So that can be helpful as well.
Exactly. I see another question here, and if anybody else has more questions, we're going to be here for, let's say, 10 more, 15 minutes in this discussion. So if anyone has anything addressed to me or Darcy, please feel free to leave in the chat. And the question is, RF is how much painful? And based on my experience, but Darcy has been testing even more RF products, it is not painful. You're going to feel the heat. and depending on different devices, but we try to do, or we try to advance some of the technology that you don't feel the heat that much. And this is why whenever you're using anything that has RF in it, you need to constantly be moving the device over, or you hold it for, like we recommend for the Lumo, you use it for like 10 seconds in one spot and then you move to the next. But still, you're going to feel the heat. So it is better to keep moving in circular or linear motion and then just like keep on doing the lifting. But not really much aware about other devices if you're going to feel more pain or heat. It is different totally from the EMS that probably have seen, anyone has seen in the videos from influencers or ours. With the EMS and the microcurrent, you probably are going to feel the twitching, especially with the EMS, especially since it's way stronger than the microcurrent, and you're just going to feel it around your teeth or probably in your head. That is a different modality, but Darcy, you can share more about this.
Yeah. I talk about it in my video and that's why I talk about when I use the Lumo. One of the tips I suggest, because you can be sensitive on your teeth, so you can put your tongue.
Yeah.
When you're going over, and it cushions a little bit when you're going over teeth. But what I mentioned in the videos is, yes, you're going to feel the Lumo, especially what you're feeling is the EMS and not the radio frequency part of it. Because I find the Lumo radio frequency never really burned me. It felt just warmth and comfortable. I had other radio frequency devices that if I didn't stop moving, it would literally, like, I would feel burned. Even though they have sensors, it wouldn't damage my skin. But I had to, like, I couldn't, like, sometimes be watching a TV show and then kind of, I had to like be really aware. Otherwise I would kind of like, it didn't damage my skin because they have sensors, but it's a lot hotter. I felt like the Lumo is a lot more comfortable as far as the heat. But what you do feel in the Lumo, which is when you combine the RF with the EMS, is that you feel the twitching and you feel like, it's almost like you definitely feel. But the fact that you only use once or twice a week, I find that is a good thing, because it's not something you're going to have to do every day, which a lot of other radio frequencies you have to use depending on the device, sometimes every day, sometimes more times a week. So even though, you do feel it, it's not something you have to do for half an hour. It's like 10 minutes and you're done. So I find that it's bearable and it's not like, it's not painful. It's just, you do feel it, something to.
And the reason, as you mentioned, you only use it once or two times a week. The reason that why we have designed it that way is because the radio frequency in the Lumo, it is very powerful. It is as important as doing the treatment. It is as important to give your skin some time to heal, to regenerate, to produce the collagen, so then you can move to the next session.
Exactly, yeah.
And that is very much important. This is why we can probably not stress enough that people you don't need to use it like 3 or 4 times a week just because you want to have the results as fast as possible, because our skin just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you want to give time for the muscle, because you don't want actually something that can happen, which I talk to people. I mean, I didn't have that with the Lumo, but I tried a microcurrent device a while ago that was too strong, and I felt like I looked tired. And I, that's why I say always start on setting 1. Don't feel like you need, especially with electricity. It didn't damage my skin, but on the next day, instead of looking fresh, I looked like exhausted because I had muscle fatigue. I used it. The device itself was too strong. It was like 600. It was too strong, even on the lowest level. And I talk about when people use the device, like just use on level 1, because otherwise, instead of looking fresh, you're gonna just wake up looking tired. So that is important, to give time for your face and for the muscle, so you don't get the muscle fatigue. And having the Lumo, you want to give some space for the muscle to recover, for the collagen to produce, and that is good. That way you don't have to, more is not better with a lot of phase 2, especially radio frequency or EMS, which is stronger than microcurrent, so you don't need to use as often. And I find like, again, it works the best for the bigger muscle group. I find that it works the best for even more than microcurrent for the neck part and the jawline. I find the EMS for me works the best for this area. Somebody asked about radio frequency and microneedling. Can I ask the question really quick?
Sure.
Because that one I get all the time on my channel, and people sometimes get damaged even when they go to offices. Like there's Morpheus 8, which means it mixes, radio frequency with microneedling, because again, you're having that heat, and microneedling goes deeper into your skin. I don't recommend, because I get comments all the time about people doing those devices and ending up with fat loss, like down the line. Like I did this, bought this on Amazon, use it, and it was RF microneedling. I would say be really, really careful, and sometimes you don't need that that much, like start with a radio frequency first or microcurrent, and then see which kind of results you can get, and then go from there. Because sometimes, again, if you stick with it for 3 months, you may see that you have enough results that you don't need to resort to an expensive treatment like the Morpheus 8, which some people have good results. I think it depends on who does it. But also with regular use, I've even seen some friends from YouTube that did the treatment on camera, and they even said they had extreme fat loss years down the line. You know, they're older, and then they are struggling to get the fat back. So I think microneedling with radiofrequency is something you have to be really, really careful. Sometimes just radiofrequency by itself or microneedling by itself will achieve the results without having to, again, do too much to your skin. You have to be aware of that, you know.
And it makes sense because it is because of the healing process. And when you're doing a very powerful tool all at once, then it's going to cause more damage because you're going to tire your skin in this case to do the work in order to heal and then to reproduce. So probably it's better to do something that you're consistent, and you do this in moderation and in more gradual, like starting with level 1, and then you start increasing and combining different modes as the Lumo offers, or with any other device. So then this way you're going to have the results long term. And I had a question. How do you combine different technologies? As you said, you're testing different devices and you're doing tutorials. So there's going to be a dedicated time for each device or technology. If you're doing like multiple things throughout the week, how do you combine this? Because RF, microneedling, there could be laser, there could be other things that you do. Sure. How do you do that?
So what I do, because I'm a review channel and I talk about people all the time, I tend to stop everything when I'm reviewing a device. But when I have a break in between reviews, like when people send me a product and I'm going to do a dedicated review, I just use that one. But in general, what I try to do when I'm not doing tools, which I have a video that I said combining some technologies, I like to kind of divide through the week and think about my schedule, because I have a toddler, you know, I'm back to school right now too. So my life is busy. So I have to figure out what works for me. So what works for me is I love LED in like a couple times a week at least. LED lights, I find that is something that I can do in the computer. I can just put it up, or I can just like watch a video and put it on. I like the Lumo, as I mentioned, for the cleaning, because I find that also cleaning your pores, when I'm not really taking care of my pores, I find that I start getting like blackheads. And so I find like cleaning your face, like something with the Lumo, even if you just use every day the cleaning setting or a couple times a week, the deep clean, especially if you use makeup, it's really helpful. So I find that to me, LED lights and microcurrent, it's something that I always like insert, or if I'm using the Lumo, I can just use that once a week and then use the LED lights a couple of times a week, or you can even use in the same day. Like if using the Lumo, I would just say do the EMS one time and then do the LED mask every day, and you can mix depending blue or yellow. You know, if you have rosacea, I love the yellow setting because it really helps with the redness. And people think of just the red light, but the yellow light is really helpful, you know, if you have bruises, like which happened to me before, and the red. So I kind of combine different light colors through the week. So I find that a constant in my life is LED lights and microcurrent, because I find that those really in the long term. And then radio frequency, because I test devices, I kind of like wait until I'm testing a device. But usually when I'm doing radio frequency, if I am to incorporate with, you know, the devices, I would do, let's say, microcurrent one day and then the radio frequency on the other day. Or if you're using the Lumo, you can combine them together, which really saves you time. And then LED light, you can actually use it every day. It's gentle enough for every day. And LED lights help to improve, by the way, your results for microcurrent and even radio frequency. So I talk about on the video, like I have a tips for LED lights, is using the LED lights before you do your microcurrent or EMS or radio frequency, because it prepares the skin. It also prepares the muscle and helps to get your results even better. So if you have LED lights, it's great to combine with using before. And if you're doing something like EMS or microcurrent, the rule of thumb is always last. So be that as last, because you want to keep your muscles on that position, like that you're trained. So that is something to keep in mind if you're combining different tools. So LED always goes first, microcurrent or EMS always last.
Just checking if there's any other question, because I don't want to take much of your time, and I know you have an appointment, so
nice.
Not that you're here very long. There's a question I see: can Lumo be used on other parts of the body? The Lumo has been designed to be used face, neck, and décolletage. So there are not that many devices that treat the décolletage in the neck area, but you need to avoid the thyroid and the eye socket. Technically, you can use the Lumo on other parts of the body, but just do not expect the same results as you would see in your face, because it's totally different thickness, skin thickness that you're gonna have in other parts, but you're gonna see results like long term, because it is RF, but because of the fats and like the whole thickness of the skin is just gonna change the results. But is there any other radio frequency designed for the body? I'm not aware of. That probably, have you been testing anything?
Yeah, there's some that does for the body, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that sometimes people buy online, they are too strong. They have a face setting, but they're mostly for the body,
For
because
the body,
the
yeah.
body is a lot more can handle the heat. And on the body, if you lose fat, you actually want that.
Yeah.
Is radio frequency for the body often combines settings to, you know, with ultrasound. Like I have review devices that have ultrasound with radio frequency, specifically to lose fat. So those are more like bigger devices, and they're stronger.
Yeah.
And a lot of people mistake and buy those and use on their face. So that's why a lot of those, I would say, you definitely use those on the body, and better than your face, because you don't want to lose fat on your face.
No.
But yeah, radio frequency is great to lose the fat and firm, you know, and the collagen from your body.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you think that is going to be important for people to know? Because we kind of tackled between where do you need to start until you get to the radio frequency is kind of the start of the technology in terms of like whatever is in the market. Or is there anything that you have been testing out, or like a new technology that you're still in the testing phase, or you're just testing different devices and making tutorials on this?
Right now, I'm kind of trying a device now with laser. Laser is just very new, because a lot of lasers are, again, I tried a laser back then that was, I still have it. I don't have it in my new office right now, but I'll show. It was so expensive, and it caused like dots. But now the new lasers don't do that. They are kind of very similar to radio frequency as they go deeper into the skin without damaging the top layer. So I find that it's really interesting, because you can only do that on offices. But I find that one thing that people need to be aware, regardless of any device, that I think the takeaway that I want them to have is, I think it's very important to give time. Collagen takes up to 3 months to really produce. So there's so many tools on the market, but I find that it's so important to give time for that tool to work. So depending on your stage of aging, a month may not be enough. You need to give it 3 months. And then 3 months, you reevaluate. And at that time, usually you can go into maintenance mode on a tool, or you can just see, do I need something else? Because depending on your age, you may need something else. Depending, like if you're older and you just, you know, sometimes. But I find with the Lumo that is interesting, because I talk about other tools that people sometimes just use radio frequency, and then they get the collagen, but they still have the sagging. And I say, now you should incorporate an EMS or microcurrent, you know, because you never know. Sometimes just the collagen will plump everything up, and it will just look better. But as you get older, you have a lot of loose skin that you need the muscle too. So that is something to keep in mind, your age. But if you're younger, sometimes just, you know, firming the face, or it can be preventive, which can happen to a lot of people. I don't see a lot of difference, because you have so much collagen, you have already, you're so young. So you, in that case, you're not seeing like a dramatic difference, because it's not going to change your face. It's just going to make your face more plump, your skin more bright. So you also have to, you know, be aware of, you know, which kind of tool you're using and your age group. If you're young, you may not see a dramatic result. If you're older, you're going to see more dramatic results, but you may need to work more on the muscle than the, you know, that's why 3 months, I feel like people should be really dedicate consistency and give a time for the face and the muscle, you know, to produce the collagen.
Yeah, and this is why the Lumo combines a bunch of technologies. As we're talking about radio frequency, we're talking about RF, and we're talking about the EMS. So depending, because we also, like you mentioned, that you're still using the cleansing mode. It also has a product penetration, which works in the
and I love the cool setting too, for like closing the pores, and because I have, you know, and also depuffing. So I find that, like, even if you're not using, you know, you can still use it every day, but not for the radio frequency or the EMS, but you can use for cleaning your face, or for the, also product penetration is really nice, that it has the, you know, to penetrate your serums to get the best of it. So I find that it's like a good all-in-one if people don't have, but if people have other devices, sometimes they still have the Lumo and incorporate like all the other, you know, features as well.
But what is important is that if you have a device, or if you're starting with one, do your own research, see if you're feeling comfortable, talk to the brands, talk to the people that are behind them, just ask for the research-based papers or whatever you feel more comfortable. And then after you make the decision, you need to use the device long term and get like kind of wait until you see the results, and kind of that's going to be a motivation for you. After you start to see the results, it's going to be okay, now I see a lifting, now I see my jawline is looking better, or now I see that some of the wrinkles are faded, so I'm just going to keep on using more. And that doesn't mean you need to go and like buy everything else, but it's more about an investment, and then start building up as you're feeling and you feel like, okay, I have enough from this device, probably I can do something more. Then you start and research and probably do something else. But it's important that you start taking care of your skin as soon as possible. If you don't have a skincare routine, start with the cleansing, a moisturizer, and SPF. Probably, I'm going to list as those three are kind of the first key things that you need to do. And then as you start aging and as you start to take care of your skin, you can incorporate something like the Phoenix, which is a roller, and it has
just really quick, because this one I still use it like almost on the daily. It also helps with depuffing. And when I went to a wedding, like travel, I took this. I didn't take anything else because I just wanted to like just lift like right before my makeup.
Yeah.
And because it's solar power, and I talked about the other day like tools that I recommend to people that's like really easy, especially if you're younger, is a more gentle current, so it's not gonna like feel as strong as the Lumo. And it's just so nice. Yeah, you feel the lift, like it does lift, even though it's a gentle current, like it does give you. Yeah, I find that whenever I love using this before makeup, and I sometimes use this. That's why actually I was going to show you with just water. Sometimes I live in my bathroom because I have like a big, I forgot, when the sunroof on my bathroom, so the sun shines, and I literally sometimes I come out of the shower or I'm washing my face and I just pick up and do like a really quick one, and it just kind of opens up and wakes up my face.
Yeah.
So this one, even though it's gentle, it's really good for travel and also for the lymphatic drainage because of the rollers.
Yeah,
it's just so,
and it's so nice
good.
if you're on a go, as I said, you were going to a wedding, you can do this like even just before and like do the lifting.
I did right before the makeup because I was like so puffy. I actually am puffy right now a little bit because I had a lot of salty food yesterday, but I find that this movement here really opens up in the lymphatic drainage, and it kind of drains all the fluids because of the rollers.
Yeah.
But I love the most is sometimes like you don't want to use with conductive gel, or you don't want to, you can use with your serums as well, but I often just spray water. Like I just spray water on my face because you need you need to have, because it is microcurrent, you do need to have either water or water-based serum, otherwise you're just using the massage. So that is important too. But I love that I can just I just spray water on my face and I just kind of do this. So that's why I have my bathroom, or a lot of times I just like brush my teeth and I have this right next to my toothbrush. That's how I'm still doing. I came to the office and I almost forgot to bring it because it was in the bathroom right next to my toothbrush. I was like, oh, I better bring the Phoenix because I still use it, and I love it. I really like this. Is such a good tool. And
it is so easy, and it's totally high quality in terms of like because it's
very sturdy.
Like
you can definitely feel the quality. Yes, for sure.
Like a roller, but it has microcurrent in it, and then the design is like the perfect grip, so you could feel the face lifting. There is a last question we're taking, and I'm gonna let Darcy go. Also, can we can apply gel for the Lumo? You need the conduction gel, and we do offer an EvenSkyn conduction gel. With the Phoenix, you can use that too, or you can use anything water-based. All you need to take care is that you don't use any oils with the radio frequency or the EMS, because you need the conduction, and the oils are going to block the conduction. But the Lumo has been designed to be used with water only. Before we even have launched a conduction gel, people were just like applying water or like an aloe vera gel, and that was enough of conduction to see results. But any water-based gels or cream are going to help with more, kind of bring more benefits and result, because they probably have that hyaluronic acid or more collagen peptides. It's a combination of different ingredients that are going to help enhance the results.
For sure. And also it's nice to use something that has good ingredients, because you're penetrating, like with EMS or microcurrent, you're making, your skin is absorbing those ingredients. So you're getting better results of your good serum. So it's also important. Like you can use aloe vera gel, but if you do, put like a good serum underneath, that way you're getting even more anti-aging benefits from the tool that is already like pushing the ingredients deeper.
Amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so so much, Darcy.
You're
I know you have,
welcome.
and so I said myself, we're gonna keep this short, even though it's always a pleasure to
Thank
speaking with you.
you.
We're gonna be in touch, and probably we can do more of those conversation, and
Yeah,
probably even join more people so they could ask more questions. But it has been a pleasure, and thank you so much for
thank you.
sharing this much information and based on your experience. It is nice to know from what you have tested before, and so people don't have to try and buy and fail with some of the devices that probably could cause even damage. So we're going to look forward to the video that you will be making soon. So let us know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. Good to
Yeah,
talk to you. Thank you, everybody.
thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.